Hello and welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get new episodes delivered to your feed each week. I'm your host, Steve Plumb, Editor-in-Chief for SME Media. I'm joined today by Silvio Memme, the Head of Business Development for P1-AI, a tech startup focused on AI-based engineering systems. Founded by several experienced veterans in the industry, and about a year ago, in August 2024, the company closed on a $23 million seed round led by Radical Ventures earlier this year. Silvio, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Steve. A pleasure to join you.
So before we get into it, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up joining P1.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I'm the head of business development of P1. Joined the company about 6 months ago. And prior to this, I spent the first decade of my career working as a mechanical engineer and in the automotive industry, namely at Ferrari, Maserati, and Fiat Chrysler, helping launch engine programs across a variety of different vehicle programs. Both in North America and in Italy. Then spent some time in the investment space as a venture capitalist and investing in early stage startups, and primarily in the deep tech space, transportation, mobility, engineering, design tools. And then got the startup bug and have been working in sort of business development roles at a variety of different startups over the past 5 years or so. And when I met Paul, our founder and CEO, about 6 months ago, I got really excited about the vision of building an AI junior mechanical engineer and decided to join the mission and help the team execute on bringing it to reality. So really excited to be working with the amazing team that we have assembled here at P1.
So coming up with your background in automotive, especially at the high-end car brands, what would you have thought about the potential of having an AI-based digital teammate, so to speak, 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah, I would have loved it. I'll use a quick anecdote. My first engineering internship out of while I was in university, I was working at a large aircraft manufacturer as part of their power systems team. So I was working on their engines and air systems. And my role was looking at engineering drawings and making sure that all the periods were in the right places and people signed in the right spot. And I used to call my work engineering secretary work as a junior engineer. And so I would have loved to have an AI agent that helped me work through a lot of that tedious, repetitive work and allowed me to do the stuff that I was studying for, the engineering design work, the building things, which I always wanted to do, and what I always thought what an engineer was supposed to be doing, as opposed to some of that more tedious work. So I would have absolutely loved it. And that was part of the reason why I was so excited to join P1, because I was one of the junior engineers. I was one of the customers. And I definitely saw and lived that pain point myself. So excited to help address that with what we're building at P1.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of repetitive tasks in engineering and probably most jobs that a lot of people would like to see automated in some way or another. At the same time, there is an ongoing workforce shortage and skills gap in manufacturing, both on the plant floor and engineering, which I'm sure helped drive the start of the company here to address that.
As we've been engaging with the market, and again, having lived this firsthand, Paul, our CEO, was the CTO of Airbus and United Technologies, and we always talk about the fact that one of the largest challenges as engineering leaders at these larger organizations was finding the engineering talent necessary to deliver the projects on time and at cost. So we definitely are hearing from the market the absolute desire to be able to expand that engineering bandwidth. with through things like an engineering agent, an AI agent. Today, a lot of these organizations rely on outsourced engineering services, what we're hearing from the market is that they would love to be able to supplement their engineering teams with digital agents as opposed to going to outsourcing, etc. So we really see agents like Archie, which is the name of our AI agent for the physical world, as an augmentation to existing engineering teams.
So I've seen in some interviews where Paul and some of the other leadership team have described, their vision is building an AI super intelligence that can help mankind conquer nature and bend it to our will, and develop eventually starships and a whole range of very complex systems. But I know you have to start at a somewhat a simpler level. Where do you see the initial entree for Archie?
Absolutely. Our big goal is to be able to have engineering AGI and be able to build those amazing machines that you described. There's also a huge opportunity today in these engineering organizations, like I mentioned before, just because of the engineering bandwidth challenges and sort of the bottlenecks that these organizations have today. We see and we're hearing firsthand from our design partners and potential customers the desire to be able to offload a lot of that repetitive, tedious work from their engineering teams to agents like Archie, which would then allow their engineers to focus on the higher value tasks and ultimately shorten the lines on those Gantt charts, help deliver the products more quickly because less time is spent on things that really aren't very high value tasks, things like documentation, etc. And so starting today, we've identified with partners quite a few opportunities to help increase that engineering bandwidth on the road. And as the agents continue to get smarter and smarter, we'll be able to unlock more and more opportunities to eventually get to that engineering AGI.
I know on your previous jobs, you were working on autonomous vehicle technology, which I come from an automotive background as well, and reported on this, and millions and millions of data is fed into the computers to learn various driving scenarios and all the potential possibilities from that end. How do you go about training the AI agent, from an engineering standpoint, what you're trying to accomplish with Archie?
So let me start with what's different about our approach. Archie is the cognitive automation of engineering tasks. And so let's think about what an engineer does today. What are they actually really good at? Human engineers are good at two things: quantitative intuition over a design space, and then they understand how to use the engineering tools necessary in order to make designs realizable. And so when you think about quantitative intuition, an aerospace engineer, for example, can design an aircraft plus minus 20% on the back of an envelope because they understand the design space. But then they use engineering tools in order to actually make those designs realizable. Nobody actually solves Navier-Stokes equations in their heads. They use engineering tools to do that. And so to your question, how do we actually train Archie? Archie's trained on three distinct things in order to give him that quantitative intuition over a design space. The first thing is just the domain knowledge that's readily available in this space. So things like textbooks, specs, manuals, regulations, everything that a human engineer would learn from in order to be an expert within that domain. Our key differentiator at P1 is really the second bucket of training data, which is our synthetic design library, which is on the order of 1 million synthetic designs that we generate internally that are both physics-based and supply chain informed. And so these are real parts that you can buy off in the market, and we build these synthetic designs and then feed it to Archie, which allows Archie to then understand the underlying physics and heuristics of that design space. And so going back to the aerospace example, if we asked ChatGPT to design us an aircraft, it wouldn't be able to because it wasn't trained on the millions of designs necessary in order to actually build that aircraft. We're tackling that by creating that synthetic design library, which Archie can then actually train on. So that's the second bucket. And the third one, which is equally important is then training off of customer data and real world feedback from the partners that we work with. And so we work really closely with our design partners to understand how their engineers work, to leverage the data from their previous designs, etc., to actually train Archie to be a good engineer on their design teams. And so that builds the quantitative intuition. And then lastly, the other really important part is being able to understand how to use the engineering tools within a toolkit. So Archie isn't a tool. He doesn't replace your CAD. He doesn't replace FEA, etc. He learns to use those same tools that an engineering team uses on a daily basis. And so that's really how we train Archie. And the key point is that we make it so that Archie fits within an engineering team's existing workflow. So they don't have to learn how to use a new tool. It's just like working with a remote teammate.
Going back to the first part of it, though, the quantitative intuition, how much is customized to a customer?
Great question. So when you think about sort of those three buckets that I mentioned, the first two, the domain knowledge that's readily available and our synthetic design library, those are really used to build a vanilla Archie, if you will. That's sort of the baseline knowledge for Archie within that specific product domain. We then work, as I mentioned, closely with our customers in order to tailor Archie to their specific organizations. And that's where sort of that customization enters in. Archie already has a baseline understanding and already provide value with our vanilla Archie, if you will, in air quotes. But it would be significantly more valuable for companies once it actually starts to engage with the engineering systems and tools and data sets that those organizations are actually using, so that just like a human engineer would learn from that information, Archie would as well.
So where do you stand on the base version of Archie?
Well, we built a base version for our first product domain, which is in the data center chiller space. We're working closely with our first design partner, which is a large industrial OEM building data center chillers. And so we built the baseline vanilla Archie for that product domain. And obviously there's a lot of transferable knowledge that goes between different domains. And we're already starting to apply those to other industries as well. We're in automotive, aerospace, oil and gas, resource extraction, etc. And so with our first design partner, we built sort of the vanilla Archie, and we've actually started to build or very far along in building the first instance of Archie for that design partner as well, based off of its our partner's data, etc. And we'll be piloting that with our partner later this year, beginning of next year.
As far as working with existing engineering tools, CAD and CAM, PLM, what have you, is it specific to a certain product, or can it go across CAD systems?
We're making Archie a general purpose engineer. And so Archie will learn to use all of the tools within the engineering tool ecosystem. Obviously, we're checking them off one at a time based off of our customer engagements, but we aren't planning on being tied to a specific tool vendor, etc. Archie, we're building integrations with tools across different vendors as well as across different types of tools. So again, CAD, FEA, CFD, PLMs, etc., etc. We're working really hard for Archie to be able to use all of those different tools.
And how do you envision engineers interacting with Archie on a daily basis?
Yeah, so again, think of Archie as a junior engineer on a customer's team. Archie's a remote digital teammate, just like an offshore engineer, for example. And engineers would use their typical communication platforms, be it MS Teams, Slack, etc., tag Archie and assign him work, just like you would with a junior engineer. So our customers hire an Archie on every team, and Archie's tireless, always available, diligent, never gets sleepy or burnt out, and he's constantly learning. And so engineers assign Archie through natural language all of the tedious, repetitive work, and which allows them ultimately to focus more on the meaningful tasks that they have on their plate.
So what would have been some of the biggest challenges that you faced in the developing this product?
I think we're really in an AI moment, in air quotes, if you will. But people are rightly questioning how do we derive enterprise value from AI, and this is sort of a macro issue. It's not P1-AI or an engineering AI question. It's a question that the entire industry is tackling. And so, from our perspective, we're not facing a technology challenge. It's really a challenge of ensuring people understand that engineering AGI will help derive enterprise value for their companies. And so, we have a competitive advantage in that we built an incredible team who's lived this before. Our team is built by people coming out of these large industrial OEMs who felt the pain point before, and understand that, and have seen that finding engineering talent in order to build these complex systems is really the biggest pain point. And so we were these customers. I was Archie previously, and so we know exactly what the customers need and how to get them to become buyers. And so we clearly understand what we need to execute on our vision, and we're uniquely positioned to win, and working closely with our partners to bring the vision to light.
So where does the name Archie come from?
That's a great question. It's a bit of a play on Archimedes and architecture, etc. And we're going in alphabetical order. Archie's are our first one, and eventually there might be a Bob and a Charlie, etc. But today, Archie comes from a bit of a play on Archimedes and architecture, etc.
And the name P1 comes from the science fiction novel The Adolescence of P1.
That's correct. Yes, our co-founders are all huge sci-fi nerds, and so that one was the adolescence of P1 really resonated with the team.
Although interestingly, things didn't end well in that novel.
We think that there'll be a more positive ending on for this one.
So, what are some of the near term milestones that you're looking at?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we're in the process of launching our first pilot project with our first design partner, and so we're really excited to get that going at the end of the year. And we're continuously building our roster of design partners and customers. And so we're really excited to continue to deploy Archie, or to work with early design partners across a variety of different industries, like I mentioned, automotive, aerospace, oil and gas, the data center space. It's been really exciting to have conversations with some of the world's leading OEMs and see their excitement and ideas on how Archie can support their engineering teams. And so we'll be hopefully announcing a few more of those to come very soon.
And if everything goes well, when would you hope to commercialize it?
No dates to announce, but we're working really hard with our partners to demonstrate value with them, and to show how Archie can support their engineering teams and really address that engineering bandwidth challenge that a lot of them face.
What other types of applications do you see? Right now you're referring to it as a junior level engineer. What's the next step up?
Yeah, so today, as we mentioned, we're starting off with a junior mechanical engineer that can ultimately help provide more bandwidth to these engineering teams. So one Archie on every team, give Archie all of the tedious, repetitive work, and provide your teams with more bandwidth and an opportunity to focus on more important design tasks. But Archie is going to continue to get smarter as it continues to get human feedback, engage with more data, etc. Archie is going to continue to go up that learning curve, and we're actually measuring this. I should mention we've developed a quantitative test to actually measure Archie's intelligence. We call it Archie IQ, but it's really a skills and competency test, which consists of 120 questions that we can administer that to both Archie and to humans, and compare how Archie's performing relative to human benchmark. And so Archie's going to continue to get smarter and smarter and move up that intelligence scale with time as he continues to work with more and more partners.
Have you seen improvements in the months that you've been there?
Yes, absolutely. It's actually really cool to see how Archie continues to get smarter and smarter for a variety of different reasons. But it's been really exciting to see how he continues to grow, and it provides a lot of excitement to both us internally as well as to our partners, to where Archie can actually end up going.
So are there certain cognitive things that you don't see Archie ever, taking on that humans do currently?
That's a good question. To date, we're trying to make Archie as general purpose as possible. So we're building Archie to be that remote engineer and making it as anthropomorphic as possible. And so there haven't been things that we're steering away from specifically, just because we're trying to build a general purpose engineer. Now that isn't to say that Archie can do everything out of the box. As mentioned, Archie's going to continue to get smarter, and we're really focused on specific skills today that meet our design partners' needs, and we're continuously expanding that skill set. But there aren't things that we're specifically keeping off of our roadmap. It's just a matter of tackling them one at a time based off of customer demand.
So long term, where do you see it going? Where I think Paul was talking about some 10-year plan.
Yeah, so plain and simple, engineering AGI. That's the big mission. We were founded on the premise that AI is going to be a key enabler for helping us build things more effectively, more efficiently, and things that have never been built before. Those starships and Dyson spheres that we talk about. And so we're just working really, really hard to make that a reality with our partners and customers, one step at a time.
As far as like digital twins, would Archie tap into those products as well, or would Archie help develop the digital twins?
Yeah, that's a good question. So at the end of the day, Archie would leverage all of the tools that a human engineer would look to leverage. And so digital twins are absolutely tools that Archie would be able to leverage, and things that we've already started to look into as well for different applications. And so yes, absolutely, Archie would be able to leverage that. And in certain instances, there might be a world in which actually Archie could support developing some of that as well.
Well, it's a fascinating topic. Silvio, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if people want to learn more about P1, Archie, and all things AI, where can they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So P-1-AI is our website. So we have some information on the website that I'd like to point to the listeners to, and don't hesitate to reach out. Silvio at P-1.AI. We're continuously looking to work with engineering organizations to identify ways for Archie to expand their team's engineering bandwidth and help their teams be more efficient. So if you're building in the physical world, we'd love to talk.
Great. Well, thanks again. And to learn more about the latest manufacturing trends and hear more of our podcast, visit advancedmanufacturing.org and be sure to like and subscribe to our feed.